Thank you for joining Zonta International for this special conversation about women in Ukrainian war and the UN Resolution 1325 on women, peace, and security. It is my pleasure to introduce Zonta International President Sharon Linkenbeck. Sharon?
Thank you, Megan. Welcome, Zontians and friends, and thank you for joining us today. In case you're not familiar with Zonta, Zonta has been fighting for gender equality for over 100 years, and we proudly have members in over 60 countries. I am honored to start this session today because it demonstrates the heart and strength of our members. Like me, I'm sure you have been closely watching the events in Ukraine, and as Zontians, when tragic events occur, our thoughts immediately go to the women and children, and in this case, our fellow Zontians living in Ukraine. Our District 27 Zontians who work in this global region quickly mobilized and collected donations from around the Zonta world to help our Ukrainian Zontians who have chosen to stay in their country to work tirelessly on the ground to help women and children who are fleeing for their lives. We are inspired by their strength and resiliency in the face of unimaginable adversity. We know that in times of conflict and war, women and girls, especially those who are displaced from their homes, are at an increased risk of sexual and gender-based violence. We must all use our voices and advocate to demand that the humanitarian response ensures the safety of women and girls who have been forced to leave their homes. Thank you to Zonta District 27 for organizing this event, and for Luba for sharing her story and the stories of the displaced refugees she has helped. I will now turn it over to Pamela Morgan, Chair of the Zonta International United Nations Committee, to provide some background information on UN Security Resolution 1325 on women, peace, and security. Pamela?
Thank you, Sharon. And thanks to Megan and to Zonta District 27, and most of all to Luba for sharing this very personal, emotional story. I'm pleased to bring a synopsis of UN Security Council Resolution 1325, which is an incredible feat of itself. We must remember that the UN Security Council is thought to be the most powerful of the 6 UN organs. Under Article 25 of the Charter, all UN members agree to accept and carry out the decisions of the Security Council, while other organs of the UN make recommendations to member states. The Council has the power to take decisions which member states are obligated to implement. On October 31st, 2000, United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325 was passed unanimously. This was essential as it constitutes the first time that the Security Council, which had been previously resistant towards gender-based issues, devoted an entire session to debating women's experiences in conflict and peace situations. The resolution also calls for special measures to protect women and girls from conflict-related sexual violence and outlines gender-related responsibilities of the United Nations in different political and programmatic areas. Key pillars of UN Security Council Resolution 1325 and subsequent resolutions specifically highlight the long-term broad impacts that sexual violence has on not just victims, but also entire communities over a long period of time. In alignment with the resolution, international criminal courts and laws have been adopted. They've adopted new standards and set clear precedent through prosecution of sexual violence as a crime against humanity and war crime. One of the most amazing areas of Security Council Resolution 1325 is it identifies women as active agents rather than as passive recipients. This is the most vital part of the resolution because it identifies women's participation as a right, not something that men are giving women out of goodwill. It also serves to identify women as being strong, empowering them to demand that they are heard and incorporated into the peace process at all levels. Now, the 4 pillars of UN Security Council 1325 are participation, and that calls for increased participation of women at all levels of decision-making, including in national, regional, and international institutions, in mechanisms for the prevention, management, and resolution of conflict, and peace negotiations, and peace operations as soldiers, police, and civilians, and as special representatives of the UN Secretary General. Protection calls specifically for the protection of women and girls from sexual and gender-based violence, including in emergency and humanitarian situations, such as in refugee camps. Prevention calls for improving intervention strategies and the prevention of violence against women, including by prosecuting those responsible for violations of international law, strengthening women's rights under national law, and supporting local women's peace initiatives and conflict resolution processes. And finally, relief and recovery, which calls for advancement of relief recovery measures to address international crises through a gendered lens, including by respecting the civilian and humanitarian nature of refugee camps and considering the needs of women and girls in the design of refugee camps and settlements. Now, national plans are a requirement of the Security Council Resolution 1325. And they are national level strategy documents that outline a government's approach and course of action for localizing action on the women, peace, and security agenda. 98 countries, including Ukraine, have adopted a national action plan on women, peace, and security. Interestingly, Russia has not. The Ukrainian national plan expired in 2020, unfortunately. But these documents outline objectives and activities that countries take, both on a domestic and international level, to secure the human rights of women and girls in conflict settings, prevent armed conflict and violence, including against women and girls, and ensure the meaningful participation of women in peace and security. Now, there are 3 special representatives from the UN whose work directly impacts, next slide, please. 3 whose work specifically impacts women in peace and security. The first is Reem Al-Salim from Jordan, who is the United Nations Special Rapporteur on violence against women, its causes and consequences. The next is the Special Rapporteur on trafficking in persons, Siobhan Mullally from Ireland. And the third is Undersecretary General Pramila Patten, who is the Special Representative of the Secretary General on sexual violence and conflict. So as we listen and learn today about the ways the lives of women in Ukraine are being impacted by this brutal war, let us remember to include demands for the implementation of UN Security Council Resolution 1325 to support the women who are collateral victims in all conflict in our advocacy. Thank you, Megan.
Thank you, Pamela. And we will now turn it over to the Governor of District 27, Ann Nayetz. Ann?
Thank you, Megan. Hello, everybody. Thank you, President Sharon, for giving me the opportunity to give this presentation. My name is Ann Nayetz, and I am the Governor of District 27 of Zonta International. I live in Belgium, in Europe. District, next slide, please. District 27 consists of 5 countries in the heart of Europe: Belgium, Luxembourg, France, Germany, and Ukraine. In Ukraine, we have at the moment 3 clubs: Zonta Club Lviv, Zonta Club Lviv-Zamok, and Zonta Club Uzhgorod, near the Hungarian border. These clubs are all situated in the west of Ukraine. Next slide, please. How did it start? Already from the very beginning of the conflict, we wanted to support our members. The Ukrainian clubs were already sheltering refugees from the east of the country and were already in need of food, medical supplies, fuel, etc. Very soon, the willingness to reach out to our Ukrainian fellow Zontians echoed in the Zonta world. Individuals, clubs, and districts worldwide have donated and are still donating money that we collect on our district account. These donations are not tax deductible like normal charity. It is a spontaneous gesture of members wanting to help the people, especially women and girls. It is becoming more and more clear that they are extra vulnerable in times of war and as refugees. Next slide, please. What do we do? At the moment, we offer help to the Ukrainian Zontians, families, and close friends. We transfer funds that we received from our members to the members we know in Ukraine. As long as it is possible to collect the money locally for them and buy things they need, that is the best thing to do. If banks would close or supplies become scarce, we could consider transport of goods. And secondly, we developed a network of members who opened their houses to shelter Zonta refugees. Thank you. Next slide, please. So the most important part now are the money transfers with which goods can be bought, such as medical supplies, organized shuttles for transport to Lviv and Uzhgorod, fuel for the cars, temporary shelter, food, clothing, and also psychological support due to traumatic war situations. We monitor these money transfers week by week to several beneficiaries to spread the risk if not being able to collect the money by one person. Next slide, please. Zontians hosting Zontians. That is the second thing we organize, is so that Zontians are getting the possibility to be sheltered by Zontians in the neighboring countries, Germany, Belgium, France, Luxembourg, and even further away, Sweden, Denmark, and so on. They open their houses to shelter refugees on short or maybe long-term basis. At the moment, not so many are sheltered. Many prefer to stay in the western part of Ukraine or just across the border, close to their families and friends. Next slide. We are overwhelmed by the generous donations and support of our members. Thank you, all members of Zonta worldwide and all who is supporting us. Thanks again.
Thank you, Anne. And we will now turn it over to Regine. Regine?
Open the microphone. So, hello, and thank you, President Sharon, for giving us the opportunity to talk about the situation, which is a very dear one, and it's like the worst thing that happened politically in my own life. So a war close to our countries and a war where our dear friends are directly concerned of. So I got some videos from Zonta Club of Uzhgorod and a video from Zonta Club Lviv-Zamok, where Luba is a member of. And I want to show you these videos. They are testimonials of the women that are sheltered or that are that get aid from our clubs in Ukraine. Megan, you can start the first video. So this is Ola.
Привітики. Нас вивезли вчора з Бучі. Проїжджали ми 3 блокпости російські, вже на 4-й блокпост був вже український. Було дуже тяжко виїхати ці дні, але в нас вийшло. У нас не було неділю ні газу, ні світла, ні води, ні зв'язку. Ми не могли зв'язатись ні з ким. Знайшли зв'язок вже тільки коли виїхали з Бучі. Сьогодні ми вже знаходимося в Ужгороді. Нам дуже допомогли. Неділю останню було дуже тяжко пережити, бо воду навіть для малого, для годування ми гріли на кострі. Я дуже рада, що я змогла вирватися з малечею, але тато залишився в Києві. Нас зустрів, провів і залишився в Києві.
So Bucha is near Kiev, a little town in the surroundings. Now the next video is Tetiana.
Татьяна Сергеевна, 1978 года рождения, 21 июня 06 месяца. Передвигалась утром 3 марта с поселка Ворзель, который уже был в течение недели под оккупацией русских войск. Передвигалась по селам и должна была пересечь Житомирскую трассу в районе Гурьевщины для того, чтобы покинуть горячую эту точку Украины и выехать в более безопасное место. Со мной в машине были мои дети, Беликова Анастасия Александровна, 2004 года рождения, и моя дочь Беликова Елизавета, 2014 года рождения. Также в машине была семья моих друзей, тоже в составе 3 человек, 2 взрослых и ребенок, которые передвигались вместе с нами. В нашей машине были запакованы все наши вещи, которые нужны были бы мне в дальнейшем, все мои документы, деньги, сбережения, все, что мы имели. А во время пересечения Житомирской трассы на нас выскочила колонна из 6 БТР, которые открыли в нас огонь с пулеметов без предупреждения. Они прекрасно видели, машина у меня была не тонированная. Они прекрасно видели, что в машине находятся в основном женщины и дети. Я была за рулем. Я не делала никаких агрессивных движений. Наоборот, приняла как можно левее. Они ехали по встречной полосе, они ехали по моей полосе. Не по той полосе, по которой им положено ехать, они ехали по моей полосе. И я попыталась уйти между разделительными полосами в пространство. Они обстреляли мою машину со всех сторон. Загорелся двигатель. Мы еле смогли съехать на обочину и попасть в какой-то проулок соседнего села. К нам выбежали ребята из теробороны, которые нас вытащили из горячей машины. Из 6 человек, едущих в этой машине, в живых осталось только 4. Погибла моя подруга Макаренко Ольга и погибла моя дочь Беликова Анастасия. Нас привели в дом к старости этого села, которая нас смогла оказать нам первую медицинскую помощь. Я оказалась ранена, ребенок мой оказался ранен. У меня осколочные ранения в область спины, предплечья. 3 суток мы просидели у нее в подвале. Она нам оказывала она делала все возможное, чтобы мы чувствовали себя более-менее комфортно. Она нас переодела, она нас накормила, она дала нам какие-то таблетки. На 3-е сутки она посодействовала тому, чтобы мы выбрались из этого пекла. И мы попали сначала в город Немиров, где мне сделана была операция. Это все запротоколировано в местной полиции. Потом нас ребята переправили уже с Немирова в Каменец-Подольск, где на данный момент я и моя семья находимся. Семья Макаренко находится здесь тоже, которые остались живы с нами. Я очень хочу собраться силами и сделать хоть какие-то документы для того, чтобы вывести моего ребенка, несовершеннолетнего, к моим друзьям в Германию. Меня ждут мои очень большие близкие друзья в Берлине. Они освобождают мне свою однокомнатную маленькую квартиру. Я очень хочу туда добраться. Я хочу оказаться в безопасном месте. Я хочу, чтобы правительство Украины, правительство Германии оказало мне какую-то поддержку, помогла мне восстановить документы для того, чтобы я могла в дальнейшем бороться с теми людьми, которые причинили такую боль и страдания моей стране и моей семье. Пожалуйста, помогите мне.
So this is a very sad testimonial, and I hope we can help her to start again. And as you heard, it's all about war crimes that are being committed in Ukraine, and we hear much more things when we read the news and when we hear the news about what's going on in the country. Now I have a last video. This is coming from the shelter of Women Center Women Perspective. This is a project that Luba Maksymovych has been running for many, many years. But of course, the last years she changed, the last months she changed into helping all refugees, but she will tell us more about this later.
Да, ми йдемо з Бучі. 2 неділі сиділи в підвалі.
Без света.
Без света, без воды.
Без воды, без тепла. Все время были в подвале.
Были жесткие бои там, очень серьезные. Мы не могли выйти дальше на 50 метров. Пережили шок. Каждый день прощались с жизнью, можно сказать. Просто что нам дали как бы это, уже оформили, и мы будем утекать, потому что страшно.
Потом дали коридоры, и мы в автобусе приехали.
На второй
Сначала
раз.
автобусы не приехали.
Танк подъехал
А пропустили
с
только на
автоматами.
следующий
Мы
день.
там...
Люди, которые без машин уехали на автобусах, оставляли своих животных, как могли, уехали оттуда, что же было. А мы на машине выехали оттуда.
Тоже рисковали.
Да.
Ужасы бачили
Автоколонны
на дороге, это ужас. Машины разбитые, подорванные, расстрелянные.
Дома.
Там дома, ужас. Видели, как они живут. Мы их 3 блокпоста проезжали.
Сегодня в нашей Буче родной похоронили 67 человек.
Братская могила.
Гражданских,
Напротив
которые даже
нашего дома.
неизвестных людей.
Угу. Там ужас.
Все только гражданские.
Там ужас. Там такая жесть. Оно летит со всех сторон. У нас же слева Гостомель, справа Ирпень. И мы посередине. И от нас вот это все 200 метров. Это когда вот первую колонну положили, этих кадыровцев, первая. Это от нас, вот, где мы сидели в подвале, от нас там метров 300, да? От подвала.
Они оккупировали наш город и стреляли в соседний город, в Ирпень. А наши не могли дать им отпор, потому что там были люди. Там жили все комплексы, там дети, столько детей, женщин.
Ну, они отбивались, но просто,
Отбивались, но очень так.
Там же десант у нас, і гради. Що ми вже воєнні експерти. Гради, що там ми бачили? Десант, ракети. Уже считаем до 25, это грады. Вот раз, да?
Да.
И все, и они уже, 2 недели в подвале. Выходили раз в день, чтобы бегать домой кота покормить, и то, рисковали, потому что
Очень
вот так
хорошо,
вот
что с нами
летает
были
всё.
мужчины, которые хоть могли разжечь костер, и мы на кострах готовили детям еду. Вот это благодаря мужчинам мы выжили, они нас там защищали как могли.
Буча, новое шоссе 16, це ми з одного дома, соседки, и в Италию едем.
Прізвище ім'я.
Сергета Марина Викторовна.
Мусієнко Юлія Геннадіївна.
А кота як звати?
Батон.
Батон.
So thank you, Megan. And now I want to introduce to you Luba Maksymovych. As I told you, she's a member of Zonta Club Lviv-Zamok, and she has been running this Center for Women Perspective for a long time. And maybe, Luba, you have to open your microphone. Luba? Luba, can you hear me? Luba?
Okay.
So, Luba.
Thank you very much. I have a very bad connection just now.
Okay.
And I'm sorry about interrupt because I don't see you. It was like just now I'm okay.
Yes, you're very.
Are you listen me?
We can see you and we can hear
Dear
you.
President, dear Sharon, dear Pamela, dear my colleague from district and my governor and Regine, my friend and my like a good friend because she's been in the district when I've been an area director. I apologize about my English because now is not my English is general. This today is very important, the life what I have in Ukraine and my Ukrainian colleague. You can see this small video with women and cats. This woman was going from Bucha and she don't have any clothes. She only have cat in her bag. This cat, it was everything what she take with her. Yes, as for me, it was very symbolic because this lady, she was probably living in Crimea and she was moved in 1914 in Lviv, and she passed courses in our social entrepreneurship firm. I met her in 2014, and this video, it was the day when this lady called me and say, Luba, I am in Lviv just now. It was the second time where she need to move when Russia conflict in Ukraine, you know.
Luba, may I interrupt you? I think
Yes.
this is something important we should also tell because your center has been, when it started to work, it was like an organization for women's rights. But then in 2014, when Russia moved into the eastern parts of Ukraine and when they took the Crimea, there were many refugees coming over. So, and then your work has been more and more with women refugees. Can you tell us a little bit more about this?
About this period? Yes. And I am director of NGO Women's Perspective. This is a women's organization and we have 24 years. It's one of the biggest women's organization in Ukraine. And in 2014, organization have a lot of program of prevention violence and prevention trafficking. We have like more women, many women of IDPs because nobody knows that it was war in 2014. Mostly we was talking that this is a conflict inside of Ukraine, but it really was a war, and especially the east part of Ukraine. And exactly, our organization provides a lot of activity. We provide psychologists, we provide we had a shelter, we had a special consulting for women, and we have the Jewish services. and we was working, our jurist was working on the court process, special of topic of violence in family or in sexual trafficking, and we had a lot of information that we have a very big sexual violence in east part of Ukraine, in Donetsk and Luhansk, but we cannot do a statistic because it was so difficult. And just now I remember that women are going abroad the country in 2014. It was a little bit different than we have situation just now, because women was going abroad, ADPs was going abroad the country, they have foreign passport, they was going like a tourist visa, yes, but now we have so difficult situation. 50% of women are going with domestic passport abroad the country. 80% of these women today don't know any languages when they go abroad the country. They don't, sometimes I ask them, does you have a copy of your passport? She said, no, I don't have. I never been abroad the country. And this is a big, so big risk for victim, to be a victim of trafficking. Why we are talking very about that, because this is a so big risk for Ukrainian women to be sold, to have a situation where they need to be a victim of trafficking.
Luba, what have you heard about your protégés at the center since now Russia invaded or tried to invade Ukraine? What are things that where you can help the women that are coming to your place? What have you done all these days now?
Mostly client of our center, the women in crisis situation, women who are unemployment, who have a victim in family, and women who are looking for some support. This is one of the kind of our clients in our center. We help them to found a job, we help them to start a business, we provide them a psychologist consultant, we have the shelter for victim in family, yes, but now we create a big shelter for refugees, because we need to do something that we can help the women who arrive to Lviv with kids. Anytime, it could be in night time, you know, and they need to have some accommodation because they don't know where they will be going. And our colleague from business help us, and we open in territory of the business office. They give us a premises, free of premises, that we can to put some places for this kind of women, because this premises is very close near the train station. What is very important, it's only 5 minutes from train station to walk, because we can help them any moment to take to our shelter, and we provide for them food, we provide them psychologist consultant, we provide them, we give for kids art therapy, and we try to be very polite with them, because they have a very big trauma. Nobody knows that it could something like that could happen in the middle of the Europe, in country where we have really democratic changes, and we was working very hard with Istanbul Convention for ratification. If we make a lot of activity and to speak with our deputies, and we prepare everything for ratification of Istanbul Convention in Ukraine, and suddenly we have a war.
Okay. Luba, can you estimate how many refugees did you help since 24th of February when this war was started by Russia?
Oh, I would like to say you that we it's the goal of our shelter was to stay 1, 2, or 3 days because they need to adaptation, then to make a decision if they will stay in Ukraine or they will go somewhere abroad the country. And now we have more than 400 refugees, women and kids was passed through was client in our shelter just now. It's really, we help them, we try to give them some adaptation and consulting, but now we are looking for some partnership with other country, with organization, then we can to help these women to go for some period of time. And as example, we have very good connection with Spanish Andalusia, and the community help us for accommodation this group of women with kids, and they give them they stay living in family, they have some support of Spanish courses, they have some possibility to go to the kindergarten or school for kids, and to help the women to find a job. About 90% women don't like to be a refugees for full time. 90% of them say, I will be temporary. I will go back. You know, I'm only now to save my kids. And this is the main situation.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of example when the women arrived to our shelter and they saw how it was per day in Ukraine. We have 1,500 bombs. Russia put it on the school, hospital, theater. They cannot move. It's not war, it's genocide. We have a Mariupol is a town in the west part of Ukraine. They are so Ukrainian people, and every time they try to be a positive to Russian soldier, but they put a lot of bomb of this town, no tree, no buildings. It's terrible. People, I don't know. I think that we never been in the world what they are doing with so democratic people in Ukrainian. They don't like that Ukraine could have a democratic choice, you know, like to be part of Europe. And
I know, Luba, that Mariupol was a very lively student town situated at the sea, and it was it was something. Many students have been evacuated from there, and it was something that was completely destroyed by Russians. So this is really, really, really hard. But I see that you are working very hard, and every time I want to connect with you, you're responsive. There is no time of the day where you're not answering in our messengers thing. And I just want to know how can we help you to maybe just do a little bit to
I would like to say that this war to give stay our women like only mom and save his kids. But we have very good step in the gender equality in Ukraine. We have a very good, you know, in our parliament, we have 20% of women. We make a lot of advocacy. We have a lot of women leadership. We have a big network of women's organization. We have a very strong Ukrainian women's fund in Ukraine. We was working like for help women on the decision making, to be more stronger, to be take more part in the level where is the decision making. But now many women, exactly, we need to be safe of our kids. We need to be help the women to save his kids. It's terrible because it's, and how we can help. I would like that every woman in the world need to understand what's happened in Ukraine. Every woman need to help to save the Ukrainian, to tell about this this genocide. I cannot say other. I only say that it's a real genocide. And I think that women need to be very open the eyes and to protect it. That it could be peace on the world. It could be not war. It could happen with everywhere if we will don't say no, and if we will don't say that we. And as for me, it will be very helpful. Some
Humanitarian.
Yes, sorry, humanitarian support, because they crash everything. We have the town where is people don't have a food, don't have some medicine, don't have a possibility to have some hygiene, you know, and
Yes.
that's all. And especially it could be information. I'm really worried about Ukrainian refugees women, because they are not ready to go abroad the country and they don't know any languages. If an organization where we can see that we have look the Ukrainian refugees, it needs to be like a piece of paper about in Ukrainian or in Russia probably, that if you have some problem, please call 112 or other possibility, you know, because they cannot help yourself. It's the problem as for me. And exactly we will be like any support, especially it need to be, I talked about that. We need to close the sky, that's all. Because this is a really situation where Ukrainian don't have a lot of possibility. Ukrainian soldiers don't have a lot of possibility, and this is only a flight and bombing special women, kids, and to make everything. They are not bombing military, they are bombing people. Where they located a lot of people, they put it bombs there. It's terrible.
It's yes, and when you see what has been lost by this war, what Ukraine was before and what it is now, and I think it's why people, Ukrainians, are so united and why they feel so such a community and why they really are fighting together to save their state and their liberty and their democracy. And I think this is really something that you too represent very much, Luba. So I think it's very important to give you support, mental support, to give to talk to our politicians, to ask for whatever they can do to help Ukraine. And yes, and I think well,
only 1 month they killed 107,000 kids. You know, only kids for what? What they like to have? For what the small kids are dying? You know, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's the first victims are women and children, those who cannot fight for themselves so good, and yeah, but this is
I'm really appreciate Zonta. I am very try to be strong and try to be like to say you thank you so much for so big support, mostly like emotional support, mostly like solidarity, like a sister, you know. Sometimes we need that nobody will forget about that. We could speak what's happened, what is the situation. It will be big support for us, because maybe we organize some I don't know, maybe some possibility to conference in your country to tell about that is the more and more people know and say no. It could not be happen with any country. Now we have, I don't know, we have really everybody know what does mean the value of the life. Yes. Every time I'm looking for this women, and they told me, Luba, we know what does the price of the life. It's not clothes, not house, no everything. It's only me. I like to live, you know. I like to have that save my kids, and this is one of the biggest priority in my life. You know, it's a big changes just now, and I'm really apologize. I've been in needs and on convention. I was very enthusiastic. I was very like have a lot of energy. How is Zontians a clever organization? How is everything is like a just in time, very well. How is women are strong, and I believe that we could say that no war, no save Ukrainian women and kids, and people Ukrainian, you know. We have a lot of young people with high education who know, who have like a vision. We have one of the biggest IT firm, IT, yes. We have one of the biggest IT firm in Ukraine. You know, we have very smart people, very European, and I understand why Putin don't like this.
Yes, of course, we know why he don't like this. Well, okay, I shouldn't say something like this, but I think it was really a rising country with fighting corruption, a country that got a democracy, and something that was getting closer and closer to our Western European countries. And so this is really the saddest thing about it. Yes. And Luba, I want to thank you so much for what you are doing, and I really I can tell you that we have so much support from Zontians in the whole world, and that we will really continue supporting you, of course. Yes, our District 27 has got so much support in money from Zontians, and we get so much support when it comes to maybe looking for someone who is looking for an apartment, for a place to stay. So the Zonta network is really, really very strong. And I think the best example I had in these last weeks was from club of Ushgorod, and they had two refugees that came to them through a former Women in Technology awardee of Ushgorod. She now lives in Melbourne, and she asked Lviv to help her mother and her sister. And now I've just heard from my friend in Australia that she got that those two, mother and sister, got a visa, and now they are going to Australia. And this is something, well, I don't know if Zonta could really help, but I know that the Australian Zontians were doing everything they could to relocate them. But I think, of course, this is not the solution for Ukraine. The solution would be to have a country where people can live in peace. And yeah.
I have my cousin in Australia. I've been in Australia, and Irene Martindale, she told me, Luba, I have building for you. Please arrive. I give you everything, but I cannot go. And
No.
you invite me. I need to be here. You know, every Ukrainian tried to do something, and we will win. I believe it. He never killed 40 million Ukrainian people. It's impossible.
I think this is the reason too, because we in the beginning we set up a list of Zontians who would be able to host Zontians from Ukraine, but we didn't get a lot of demands for this because Ukrainian Zontians want to stay and want to help in their country and want to, well, and want to live in Ukraine. They don't want to leave. Yes, of course not. It's their home. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I never think that I will have a speech in Zonta like this situation. It was my dream to speak in Chicago, yes, on the convention. I'd like to do it. Will be better for me, UK, but now I am really happy that so many women are listening to me. And if you will tell somebody else about situation, maybe we will make some advocacy and this war will be finished. Yeah. It's like I'm feeling like I am sleeping, you know? And I think that I will wake up and everything will be like it was before. And mostly of people, sometimes the brain don't believe that something like that could be.
Luba, I want to, sorry for interrupting you, but I think we've announced that there will be a question and answer session at the end of our meeting, and maybe there are Zontians participating who have questions for you. I think Megan will be hosting this Q&A, so I would like to ask Megan to, well, maybe to look for questions.
Thank you, Regine, and thank you, Luba. We do have quite a few questions. I'd like to start with, there are so many Zontians and friends in our chat and our Q&A who are asking what they can do to help. I've shared the link to the center that Luba founded in Lviv, which you can visit their website. But Regine or Anne, could you speak about what District 27 is doing? Are you still collecting donations? What does District 27 need? Because you're coordinating the Zonta efforts here. So if you could answer those questions, that would be great.
I think this is up to Anne to answer. She's our governor.
Okay, thank you, Regine. Maybe you can add something after that. So yes, we are coordinating help to the 3 Zonta clubs in Ukraine. We are now transferring money to different people to try to diversify the risk that it's not possible to collect the money locally. We are also supporting a Zontian who is now in Warsaw, in Poland, and trying to help there. And well, we are still collecting money, and the money is incredible. It's coming in on our account, and from there we're trying to view week by week how to handle it. And yeah, I think at the moment that's the best thing we can do, and we try to respond as good as possible to the needs and to what our members want. Yes.
So,
is there anything you want to add, Regine?
yes, I went, well, we were talking about Uzhgorod and Lviv-Zamok, but I have to say that Lviv too is engaged. So this one Zontian went to Warsaw at the beginning of the war. She's now there and she's buying medicine supplies and other things that she's giving to Lviv, to a Lviv hospital. The president of Lviv, Natalia Price, she's a doctor. Originally, she was an ophthalmologist, or yeah, I hope that's the right word in English. But now she's operating people who were injured in the war, and so she has a lot of work to do. Every time I was speaking to her, she was in her medical dress and in a hurry. So the situation is, well, we can only imagine what stress is happening in this country for those who are trying to help. So this too is something we have to consider, yes. But well, I wanted to say, so Lviv is mainly, the money is mainly going into medical help. We got an email from a former Young Women in Public Affairs awardee, also from Uzhgorod, and she's now working for an organization that's called Heart by Heart. And she also got money from us to buy medical supplies and other things that are necessary that her organization is working for. And of course, Uzhgorod, they have been very active in how to say, saving people. They have like a car shuttle that is going on almost every night and day, and several smaller cars where they pay the drivers and of course the fuel. They go to Kiev to get families out of there, and they go to Lviv to transport refugees from Lviv to Uzhgorod, which is quite a long way to drive because it's through the Carpathian Mountain. So of course, Uzhgorod is not a very big town. Now they have doubled their inhabitants because there are so many refugees. And one of our Zontians there, Miroslava, she owns a plant for fashion. She used to do fashion for very well-known brands in Europe, and she's now mostly sewing military things, and she is providing work for refugee women that came to Uzhgorod, and not only she, but the whole club. And they are hosting those refugees at their homes. They are helping those who want to go further to the Slovakian or to the Hungarian border. And they have a big shelter too, where they can host them. So it's really, well, I believe it's very, very spontaneous, but very, very well organized help, because they do a lot with the money they get from us. And yeah, so I'm very confident that it's a good use, because well, of course, we still have a lot of money from our donors, and we will provide week by week. We will see what needs are in Ukraine, and we will help them, because at this moment money transfers are still very, very easy, because the Ukrainian National Bank has provided safety for all the money transfers. They were very wise in organizing everything, so there won't be any disturbances. It takes a few days, of course, but the money is coming to the clubs, and they can, in this western part of Ukraine, they can still buy goods and yes, yes, get what they need for help. And if they don't get it, they will get it through the Zontien in Warsaw or through other organizations. So, and in the long run, nobody knows what's going to happen. I'm fearing for the worst, and we should be prepared to the worst. So it feels good to have a bit of money in the background to
Thank you,
provide
Regine.
help. Yeah.
Thank you,
Sorry.
Regine. No, that's okay. Thank you, Regine, and thank you, Anne. We just have some more questions that have come in as well. Pamela, I think this is a question for you. Lori asked, which organizations are monitoring and reporting on implementation of NATO action plan or national action plans on women, peace, and security? How are women involved in peace negotiations? Do you know when the next Security Council or other hearing on Resolution 1325 is? So any more information you can provide on what's currently going on around the UN Security Council and Resolution 1325.
Okay, what a great question. It's multifaceted and it could take days to really delve into it and answer it. I'll try to address key issues. There are civil society organizations that have been actively monitoring the implementation. The Global Network of Women Peace Builders, the European Peace Building Liaison Office are just two. The Security Council has built into the process a 5-year review process. So every 5 years, there is a review of the implementation of UN Security Council Resolution 1325. There is a report by UN Women on the global study on the implementation of the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325 that looks at the challenges and lessons learned, that is available on the internet for anyone who is really interested in seeing what has happened. We know that we are in a patriarchal society and that the implementation of anything that has to do with the empowerment of women is going to meet with some resistance. I don't think that it has been smooth going, but I do think it has made a difference. For anyone who has seen the Abby Disney film, Pray the Devil Back to Hell, you saw what happens when women are involved in the peacemaking business. So it's important for us to understand that in spite of all of the odds, 1325 does make a difference. Thank you, Megan.
Thank you, Pamela. And Luba, we have some questions from attendees about, are there any resources being provided to women that are leaving Ukraine about the dangers of trafficking as they go into other European countries?
You ask about other donors organization, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, we have exactly, Ukraine have a support from UN Women. Just now we're working in Ukraine, and especially they was calling to us to tell how we can help you. And this is Canadian government, USAID, Secrets Fund Foundation. We have a big organization in Ukraine, International Ukrainian Women Fund, who provide a lot of sub-grant for Ukrainian organization. It's a big donors Ukrainian organization. We can see it's my colleague, and we are working with them very close of the 1325. We are working, we have a big network. It was before war. We organized a lot of activity, and we invite our Zonta Club, Lviv-Zamok, took part on this part of activity, you know. And exactly, we have other different organization. Now the Vital Voices to call and to contact with Ukrainian women's organization, especially with our organization. And exactly, some of them are helping to write a proposal for the activity because we would like to create some as a special shelter for temporary living for Ukrainian women and kids who will be stay in Ukraine, because it's a problem, because they don't have any houses, you know, and they will be in Lviv probably, or other. We have a plan to create and to help them to find a job, to work on this area, that we can help them to maybe, I don't know, it could be not maybe start his businesses, but we would like to develop some business what we have in Ukraine, that they need to have working it, to create a new job possibility for this kind of women. And exactly, we just now need to provide some other support for these women. I know the women who don't have any grivna, I send them money, my money, because they have a kids, you know. They was going here without any business card, you know. This is like, because it was suddenly for them. And exactly, we would like to provide some addresses support for women, because just now these women are still living in family on the village, you know, where they have some places. But if this takes some time, we need to help them for accommodation, for food, for some support. This kind of activity will be very, very serious in Ukraine. Because when they go abroad the country, they cannot stay a long time. If they will be not found a job, they need to come back. We are talking about maybe we will create on the border, probably on the Polish border, of the German border, some small shelters for women, if they will be came back to stay a few days here. It could be maybe in the future, it could be some activity like we have.
Great, thank you, Luba. That was very helpful. There is also a couple of questions about cell phone service in Ukraine. Are people able to still stay connected via their mobile phones?
Yes, our business who have a mobile, how to say in English? No, business who have a mobile give a free for everybody, that the people could be connected. I have a lot of connection just now, and I don't pay anything. I sometimes I use a WhatsApp, Telegram, Messenger, Viber, and other phone, you know, and we could connect it, of course, because the connection today is very important. Our government to create as a hotline special, if somebody I have the lady, she cannot connect with her husband about he stay at home near the Kiev where is the bombing, and she is very worried because she 10 days cannot connect with him, you know. And we have the hotline, especially in Ukraine, where the two smart women from IT create some special platform where we are looking that somebody lost or somebody looking for, that can be connected here. Its communication is very important just now.
That's great to see the mobile phone companies and IT specialists coming together to find solutions for people. That's wonderful.
Maybe if I can add something about European countries, I think we are very well aware of women trafficking. Maybe not enough at this moment, but I know that, for example, in Germany at train stations and also at bus stations, there is more police paying attention so that there won't be any people getting close to the refugee women to trick them into some things they don't want to do. And I know also that in Germany, for example, they get free how is it called? These cards that you put in your phone that you need for to phone. It's there's lots of help. I think it's the same situation in Poland, and I think it will be the same also in Belgium and in France. So they are facilitating a lot, and the train rides are for free for Ukrainian, and so this is the situation. Well, of course, everybody tries to make it a little bit lighter, but I think the risk of human trafficking is still there, and no illusions about this, because a few policemen or a safe place at the train station is not everything that will save you. Sorry.
Yes, thank you, Regine. So we also have a question, and Luba, I think this question is for you too. What should supporting governments be doing to help? So governments outside Ukraine, either in the European Union or elsewhere, what do you think they should be doing to help?
Yes, I would like to say that just now our government to have a very strong position, and they make a lot of provides just now a lot of documents. We are working very close with. We have the position of gender equality representative for government is the Katerina Levchenko, and she is working very close with women's organization and and government. And today, I don't know how to say in English, but today our government to make a new document about prevention sexual violence. It's a criminal, like it could be a criminal. The special documents, I'm really enjoy it, because we have our government today make a lot of prevention for help and prevention trafficking and prevention sexual violence. They have a very new documents for that it could be more protection, more protection about sexual violence. Only today, I don't read yet, but I'm looking that we have a new like a document, new law, not law, but probably some special documents of prevention sexual violence, because we just now we have a lot of examples they don't have a food, they are angry, they are looking for young girl, and they are have a sexual it's very terrible, but we have more and more examples just now where they are located. It's like in Bucha, Mariupol, and other places. Yeah, it's terrible.
Luba,
sometimes they take a lot of people and move them to the Russia without anything. That not like, I don't know. It's like it's not people can do it. They are not a people. They are very, very dangerous people, because we have information that they don't have a lot of soldiers, and they invite some criminal people to be as a Russian soldier, because they try to collect it. They never think that they was doing that they will spend 3 days and Ukraine will be like in Russia territory. They don't understand that Ukrainian people is a total different his mentality than in Russian people.
Thank you, Luba. Are you seeing children that are traveling alone, or are they mostly with mothers or other women?
I'm sorry, please tell me more.
Yeah, are you seeing children that are traveling alone, Or are
Yes,
they all?
we have example. We have a few example where the kids was lost, and we have some example when one boy, 8 years, he was traveling to Polish, and he goes through the border control, and he don't have. In our shelter, it was one girl. He's 17, and her father was killed, and mother was died, and she stayed alone. She came to Lviv with her cat, and she liked to go abroad the country because she don't have any relatives. She don't only have a boyfriend, 20 years Ukrainian. He is still in Polish, and her mom in Polish. And we was called to her mom, of this her boyfriend, and speak with her and speak with him. Then we called to La Strada of Polish, and then we took this 17 years girl to the Polish, because we are worried that she needs to be safe, you know. Yes.
Thank you for ensuring that she got there safely.
Yeah. Yes.
And
so one of the problems that we have more and more example when women lost kids, when she goes through the border, they don't know any languages. Yes, and sometimes they lost the kids. We have some example like that, because when we are talking every time our women in shelter, please put the piece of paper to your kids package, you know, with telephone. It could be easy, it could be more safe, and have a copy of passport.
Thank you for those important things that you're doing. So there are a lot of people who want to know how to help, and who want to connect. We see District 8 has organized a PayPal link for Zonchans to donate to, and all of that money will be sent to District 27. There are various people who are working with individuals in Ukraine or Poland or elsewhere that have offered assistance or want to know how to help. And so after this session, we will share with all attendees some links to Luba's organization, to District 27 for making donations. And we will try to make those connections offline. There are so many in the chat and the Q&A. So thank you. We do see all of these, and we will try to facilitate that as much as possible after the session. There are other questions, Regine and Anne. I don't know what else you'd like me to cover, but a lot of it's about individual situations wanting to connect people. Regine or Anne, do you want to take any more, or should we go to the closing?
Well, I think that if people want to connect with us, of course, it's possible that we can use the new Zonta app to make connection. That's one of the possibilities. You can reach us through our website. That is unfortunately at the moment in transition, so we are launching a new website every day now, so maybe Monday or Tuesday, but you can always try to reach us there through my mail address or Regine's mail address, or through the governors. Feel free to reach out, and we'll try to help wherever possible.
Thank you, Anne.
And I try to say thank you very much, District 27, our sisters, that they are was so sensitive, and they just in time to tell how we can help us. And this was very important, because it was maybe 2 or 3 days of the war, and it was very helpful for us. It's not as a money, as a support, like as a very understanding what could happen, what's happened in Ukraine. It was very important. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Pamela. Thank you all of women Zontians for your understanding, for your, I believe that women is very important in the world. And if something change, it could be the role of women in the world. As I am really sure.
Thank you, Luba, for your amazing testimony and positivity and the work you're doing. To close today, I'll turn it over to President Sharon.
Thank you. Luba, you have been the heart and soul of Zonta. They're on the ground in Ukraine helping. You are just the role model for all of us. It is just heartbreaking to see this situation in Ukraine, and you have brought that message home to us today. And it is so important for all of us on this call to have a better understanding of what you are facing, the help that you need, and certainly those words of advocacy that we need to do, as well as the support to you with your center. And I just want to thank you for your messaging to us, because we are in various parts of the world and we are not experiencing that on the ground that you are. And thank you for sharing that message. And I also want to thank District 27 and Regime for everything that the district is doing, as well as our Zontians around the world. So thank you. And we do have an opportunity for further discussion. I believe our Executive Director Allison put in the chat that there is a link for a 2:30 p.m. today, Eastern Daylight Time, to continue conversations for Zontians if they would like to continue this with our Ukraine situation.
I would like to say this, my colleague, my Zonta Uzhhorod Club, Zonta Lviv Club, Zonta Zamok, my president, Luba Maksymovych, and Helen and Olga, and everybody, our Zontians, Ukrainian Zontians, everybody help and try to be, make everything that Ukraine could be really independent, really democratic European country.
Yes, advocacy is so important as we move forward, because we know we have a long term to come back with, to rebuilding as time goes on. But we have the immediate crisis and tragedy that we've got that we're working with today. And so again, thank you to all for their support for women and girls as they are losing where they are currently living. On behalf of Zonta International, I truly want to express my care and concern for everyone. And it's heartbreaking. That's all I can say. It is so heartbreaking. So to our audience, thank you for joining today. I know you will be carrying this message home to your clubs, to your areas, of what we can do collectively to support our members in Ukraine. And again, thank you, Luba.
Thank you so much. Thank you, my sisters Zontians. And we will win together. It will be our, as
Yes.
Ukraine will be forever, forever. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Goodbye.